Good morning, students, and my dear faculty members. Today, the topic which I will be discussing, or the topic of this seminar is applications of managerial economics in decision making. So there will be point-to-point discussion, and I will be expecting from the students as well as the faculty members at the end or at the end preferably to ask some questions, and I would love to answer those questions. It may not be from the students only, maybe from the faculty members also. So the discussion of the topic of the today's discussion is applications of managerial economics in decision making. So here in this topic, if you observe, there are words applications, managerial economics, and decision making. That means somewhere or else I would be relating the applications of managerial economics. I should start from economics and from the primitive age, what was the thinking of the people, in people's mind, what whatsoever that would be discussed in the beginning, and that would be related with the decision making. How those points or those relates to helps in decision making, and that helps the manager to take decision in manager entrepreneurial setup or organizational setup. If I start from the discussion from the primitive age, say from 1776 or before that, the students who studied or when we studied economics, first we heard the name of Adam Smith. Who is Adam Smith? He is the father of economics, he is known to everybody. So if we look into the definitions of Adam Smith, he defined economics in terms of science of wealth. Later on, there were some other economists who defined economics, criticizing the former economists. But before that, there was thinking and the practice also that system of exchange. Because economics, what economics is, economics, if we study economics, you will find that the definitions of all the economists, they always have emphasized the behavior of the human being. What or how we behave. If we look into our behavior from the beginning from the morning to evening, say we first get up, after we get up, then we need some commodities. Say we need toothpaste, after that we need toothbrush, then we have to come to the college, we have to have a cup of tea, then we have to come to the college. So there are those are the things, those are our activities. But whether those activities will be considered as economics, yes, those activities can be considered as economics, provided there are transactions. Means transactions take place. That means transactions have to be taken place if we consider those activities and consider as economic. So during that time, that 1776 or before that, there was system of exchange, because we believe our behavior when we consider as economics, then exchange has to be taken place. So exchange means if I give you something, then you have to also give me something. Then there will be exchange. So that is the system of exchange, what we call as the barter system. Here barter system of the system of exchange. So the barter system of the barter economy, that commodities or the services that exchange against the commodities or services. But there are several problems. What are the problems? Suppose I have a piece of cow, you have a piece of cloth. Now, if I have to exchange that cow, then that has to be exchanged with your cloth. But I may not need that cloth. So there is some problem. Or the oath of the cow may not be equivalent to the oath of the piece of cloth that you have. So there are several problems. Those problems arose. So that is why to avoid that problem, to remove that problem, not avoid it. So monetary, that metallic system introduced initially. But there were several problems. I will discuss what are the problems arose in that introduction of the introduction of metallic system. So different metals were introduced over the periods of time, and then transactions were taking place. But those meters were also that system was also there was a problem because that was heavy to carry out from one place to another place. So there were several problems. So later on, over the period of time, that monetary system before that that paper currency, then after that now digital money system will work very well. So that has been introduced and this transaction is taking place. So this is about the barter system and the introduction of monetary system. Then prior to 1776, there were some economists of different schools, classical schools, modern schools, of different schools. They were considered as the orthodox economists. So those orthodox economists or whoever, they define economics as what economists say. So whatever economist speaks or say, that is called economics. Later on, but in that definition, there were no proper that logical view. That what basis that economists are saying, whatever economists will say that will be considered as economics cannot be considered. So that is why criticizing that in 1776, Adam Smith, who is known as the father of economics, defined economics in terms of science of wealth and entering into the nature and the causes of wealth of research. In his definition, he inquired about the wealth. Why the people are running after wealth? To acquire wealth. Because that barter system prevailed in the economy. Since barter system prevailed in the economy, monetary system was not available, it's not prevailed. So there were problems. But people's mind that how to acquire more wealth, that was over in people's mind. So people were busy to acquire wealth, how to acquire more wealth. Yes, he defined economics in terms of wealth. At the same time, he highlighted about the behavior of the human being. So the same point you see, Adam Smith also emphasized about the behavior of the human being. After that, in 1890, Alfred Marshall, another economist, he defined economics in terms of science of material welfare. He criticized the definition of Alfred Marshall, definition of Adam Smith. He said his definition is classificator. That definition does not include every side of the economy. He only highlighted about the wealth, how to acquire more wealth. But he did not emphasize about the welfare of the human beings. That is, welfare part or welfare economics, welfare part of the economy were not included in the definition of Adam Smith. Criticizing the definition of Adam Smith, Alfred Marshall defined in terms of science of material welfare. Obviously, he also included the behavior of the human being that was an importance in his definition. And also he included that material welfare. He discussed how the behavior, how the ordinary man behave in everyday life. That was included in the definition of Alfred Marshall. Alfred Marshall defined economics. He also included the material part, material part of the economy. But there is another part. You see, materials are good, our start, those are the matters. Those material part is given important, included in the definition of Alfred Marshall. But the non-material but services part, that also considered. So services are also transacted. You come to the college and we impart education, so the services are shown here. So that services part were not included in the definition of Alfred Marshall. Then in 1932, that started to 1935 also, Lionel Robbins defined economics in terms of science of scarcity or the science of choice. So the science of choices comes in his definition. Science of scarcity, the resources are scarce. What are the resources? I said discuss. All the resources, those resources are scarce, and the choices comes in. Choices comes in. There are different goods and services. Goods means the commodities and the services. are available in the economy. So out of those, somebody has to choose which one will be accepted. If I give you one example of the availability of the goods and services and how the choices comes in decision making, say for let's take an example. When you start to come to the college, so there are many different types of means available. Means is the alternatives. Different alternative solutions are available. What are those alternatives? If you look, if you want to come to the college, if you want to reach to the college, you may ride your bicycle, you may ride your two-wheeler, you may come by bus, you may hire a Ola, or you may come by your own four-wheeler. So all those are the means all those are the alternatives available to you. So that depends upon you which one will be accepted by you. Because there are different decision making tools that will relate. Your decision will depend upon the decision making tools, your affordability, your liking. Those are all involved here. If you are able to, if you can afford this Ola, then you can come by Ola, or you may come by two-wheeler, or you may have a bus. So there are alternatives. You have to choose out of many alternatives, which one will be affordable to you. So economics is all about what, as per our discussion, economics is all about the activity of human being. Later, the modern economists, there are many economists, modern economists, they define economics in different ways. They say that those prior definitions, the definitions of economics by Alfred Marshall, Adam Smith, or Lionel Robbins, those all are not complete. Those all definitions are classifiable. Because those definitions, though they highlight about the behavior of the human being, yes, behavior of the human being is very much important. That has to be given the consideration to define economics. But the growth of economy and ensuring the stable growth have not been given importance to define economics. So the modern economists, they define economics saying that economics is a social science dealing with human behavior, concerned with the proper use and utilization of resources, ensuring growth with stability. So it is about the behavior of the human being. Economics is a social science. Why economics is a social science? Because economics studies that those three definitions, those three popular definitions are prior to that, the other economists who have defined economics, everybody highlighted, everybody considered that behavior of the human being to define economics. So the behavior of the human being has been given importance to define economics. But human being, who are the human being? We are the human being. We live in the society. So our behavior is studied. So the behavior of the human being, those who live in the society, that is why economics is social science. Dealing with human behavior, concerned with proper use and utilization of resources. When we study our activities from morning to evening, our behavior, our activity depends upon different resources. What are the resources? Land, labor, capital, and organization. Land, labor, capital, are the resources, and the land, labor, capital, and organization are the factors of production. So that depends upon those resources. Those resources are scarce. So since those resources are scarce, those resources have to be utilized properly. Proper utilization of resources are very much important. So that utilization of resources ensuring growth with stability. That means if the resources are utilized properly, then growth should be achieved in the economy. And if the growth is achieved, then that must be stable growth. If you look into different economic surveys or Indian economic surveys available, so if you buy them, you will find that calculated growth of economy is actually measured by the per capita income. What is per capita income? Per capita income is per head income. So so which is calculated by national income by population. So if our national income, for example, 100 rupees, if 10 people live in our country, so per capita income will be 100 by 10 square meter. So that is actually the calculated per capita income. As per the calculated per capita income, yes, we can conclude there are everybody, the people who are living in our country, all citizens are earning 10 rupees. And if our BPL is 5, then all of them are above BPL, means APL level, above poverty line level. Then we may consider, yes, country is running smoothly, so there is no hunger and no problem is running smoothly. But if we look into the reality, who are those 10 people? Say, for example, 5 are industrialists and 3 of them are businessmen, and say 4 are industrialists, 3 of them are say service holders, 7 other 3 are the beggars, for example. So out of 7, out of 10, only 4 industrialists and 3 service holders. So all those 7 people are only earning, and other 3 they are begging. They are begging means those earners, those who are earning, they are donating. So since they are donating, so the beggars are getting food. So in as per the calculation, that 100 rupees is earned by the 7 people only, not by the 10 people. So in reality, though as per calculation calculated per capita income is 10, in reality those 3 beggars, their income is 0. Their income is 0. If this is the situation in this way, the growth is measured, then that growth will not be the sustainable growth. So that cannot ensure the sustainability. So that is why modern economists say that those 3 prior definitions for the economics who define economics in terms of science of wealth, material wealth, or the science of scarcity and choices, those are correct, but those are classical because they did not include the growth of economics to define economics. So this is about the how the definition came into being to define economics. Whatever in our from those definitions of economics, we may conclude in this way that economics is all about the behavior of the human being provided its transactions take place. So we are clear about the definition of economics now. So the individuals, businesses, governments, nations, everything is included here, their behavior. So gradually I will be showing you how these government, nations and other factors are involved in decision making, and decisions are made from the economic tool, the application of economic tools. But this slide talks about only the behavior of the human being, which is the main, which gets the main priority by economics. Now the question comes, there are different problems. Yes, behavior of the human beings is considered, behavior of the human being provided transactions take place, that is considered as economics. But our subject of discussion is managerial economics. So from the behavior of the economics, which are coming into the operations of the managers, that will be considered as the managerial economics. And how does that managerial economics or the tools of managerial economics helps in decision making, that will be our discussion. So now the question arises. Yes, economics decides, but there are many problems. What are those problems? Those who raise those problems, the people who lives in the society. What type of problem arises? Because you see that in the society, the managers, they also live in the society. They are also human beings. So managerial problem is the point of today's discussion. So the managers think what are the commodities or what are the products to be produced. So what to produce is the first question of the of an economy. What to produce? Yes, if it is decided what to produce, that is the manager's first problem. So what to produce? Suppose it is decided there are many goods and services, wheat may be produced, then rice may be produced. There are different manufacturing products also that may also be produced as per the need of the human being. So the decision makers are not actually the managers. The decision makers are the households with the human being. The human being who live in the houses. So they are the households. So households are the decision maker. Next, yes, the household decides. So where the goods will be supplied? Again from the farm, FIRM farm. But we also know another word FIRM. So what is the difference between FIRM and FIRM? FIRM is an manufacturing unit. It is a product. It is an economic unit. It is a production unit where manufacturing, where production takes place to manufacturing. So that means FIRM farm is machine-based production system, and FIRM farm is the land-based production system. So this is the difference between these two. For whatever, both are the production unit. So the production will take place what to produce. Suppose it has been decided. The next, how to produce, technological problem. How to produce. The technology has to be decided. What technology, what type of technology to be applied to produce the goods and services. Then, yes, the goods have been decided. Goods means the commodities have been decided. What will be produced in the society, and how to produce, what type of technology will be adopted to produce, that has also been decided. Now, who will buy? Who will buy? So the distribution of the production. Distribution of the production. Who will buy? The factors of production. What are the factors of production? Land, labor, capital, and organization. So the goods, whatever is produced in the economy, will be produced, and that will be distributed among the factors of production. They will buy. So if we look into the circle, which is in my last slide, you will find how the goods and services are produced in the farm, and what are the technologies where from it is supplied, and how the selected goods and services will be distributed. So there will be the relationship. And the decision makers also. So the decision makers are farms, are the households, government, and different countries, because economic theories also applies in international trade. So you will find the other countries, whoever are involved in international trade, they are also decision makers. According to the demand created by those decision makers, the goods and services will be decided, and technology will be adapted, and that will be distributed to the factors of production only. So the economics is a social science, that means our behavior of the society according to the demand raised by the respondents. Who are the respondents? Those decision makers, goods and services are produced, and those are distributed to the different factors of production, subject to the optimum utilization. Optimum means either maximum or minimum, as it is applicable. In case of profit, maximization of profit. In case of cost, minimization of cost. For that optimization of resources, the resources has to be utilized effectively. So again, if we start our discussion, that managerial problem, the operation or the activities of the human being which come under the view of the manager, that is called the managerial economics. So the managers decides based upon the respondents' behavior. Respondents are the decision makers, that what to produce and how to produce. What to produce, there are various goods and services available, and out of those, the choices have to be made. What the rules has defined, the decision making considered choices out of many available alternatives. how to produce, that farm will decide what type of technology has to be adopted to produce, whether labor intensive or the capital intensive technology, that will be the decision of the farm. For already I have discussed, it is for the distribution, for the factors of production, and those factors of production are paid, because those factors of production are utilized by the farm and they are paid by their respective prices. What are the respective prices? The price of land is rent. That means when land is utilized by the farm, then that land has to be paid by them. Then the laborers, the human being, those who live in the society, those who live in the households, they are paid by wages because they are employed in those farms to produce the goods and services. Then capital management. Capital is very much required for industrial setting. So for that, capital has to be managed. Capital has to be found out the source of capital. Those the financial institutions will also be involved. They will be paid their prices, interest, and then since the entrepreneur invest, so the entrepreneur's interest will be the profit only. So those factors will be paid, so the exchange will take place. Now next come to the point of discussion, economics. So far whatever I have discussed, I have only discussed about the economics. Then what are the areas of economics come under the functions of the manager. So managers are always worried. Managers have to decide for the running say what should I say? So for operation of the organization. So what are the functions? What are the managerial functions on which the manager will decide? Manager has to analyze the demand. Manager has to forecast the demand of the products. Manager will analyze demand. For that, there will be market research. So marketing team will be involved here and to dispose the produced product. So demand analysis is a part of the economic theory, and the demand forecasting is also very much important to important function of the manager. Then cost optimization technique, cost and profit. Minimization of cost and the maximization of profit is also one of the functions of a manager. So that is also coming under the part of the managerial economics. Yes, services, commodities and services have been produced. What will be the prices? Because there are many competitors. Those competitors are also producing the substitute products or the same products. So what the competitors are charging? What if you charge high price, then competitors are charging lower price. So your product will not be sold out. Suppose you are charging low price and also the quality of the product is very good. So then also your product will not be sold out. So those are the manager's problem. So manager has to decide what sort of price has to be charged for the particular product which has been produced in that organization. So pricing decisions. Again, policies, managerial policies, also government's policies are also there. Suppose government is giving subsidy on the product what you are producing. So if government suppose you are producing product say 100 rupees, you are charging 100 rupees per unit, and that same product is sold in government's of PDS, public distribution systems at 50 rupees. So that means government is giving subsidy of 50 rupees on the same product. If you charge 100 rupees, that product will not be sold out. So government policies also matters as well. Manager has to think. So policies, and accordingly the government has to practice. So pricing decisions, policies, practices, everything matters. Everything, all those things are involved in managerial decision making. Capital management, already I have said how the where from this capital will be funded, where from the capital the entrepreneur will get, and how this capital will be properly managed. For that, chartered accountant will be there, and those accountants are involved. Economists are the advisor. Remember that economists will find out the sources and the accountant or the finance manager those will apply those techniques as advised by the economists. And then profit maximization is the sole consideration of a manager. Profit has to be maximized, otherwise the manager will be thrown out. Because that is the main concern of the entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is investing to get profit. He only understands the ROI, return on investment. He thinks he knows about the business, and for that the manager has been appointed. The managerial problem is to generate profit. So how the profit will be generated is the managerial objective function. So managerial objective function. So optimization technique has to be applied. So there are different techniques of optimization, profit maximization. Technique is there, and there are decision making tools are also available. Say cost value profit analysis, then cost benefit analysis, economic order. But there are many tools, decision making tools. Those tools have to be applied by the manager to maximize the profit. This is the objective function, subject to the different constraints. What are the constraints? Those constraints will be the availability of the labor, availability of the quality raw material, and decisions of pricing. So there are different constraints. Those subject to those constraints, that objective function has to be optimized. That is the objective function of the manager. Then export import is also part of the managerial economics, because there are many entrepreneurs who produces and those products are exported. If I don't consider India today also, whatever the products are produced in our country is calculated, and money value of that is considered as the gross domestic product. So after consumption, meeting the consumption, domestic consumption, surplus is usually sold, offered for sale in other countries. Is called the export. Against that, foreign currencies are earned, and the export earnings takes place. And there are different people who creates demand of the foreign commodities. Foreign, suppose different types of vehicles which may be imported from other countries. So for that, payment will be involved. Those export earning or the payment for import, those are maintained in double entry bookkeeping system. Is called the balance of payment accounting system. That I said in the last slide. So those are also coming under the part of the managerial economics. So the manager has to decide depending upon all those areas, provided that thinking upon the government policies. Because government also charges tax, which is the revenue of the government. That is why government accordingly plans for expenditure. Plans for expenditure means government spends, government earns from the human being household, government earns from the parks, because whenever somebody earns, they pay tax to the government, maybe direct tax or indirect tax, whatever, and that is the revenue of the government. As for the revenue of the government publishes every year, that budget, union budget is published, and where the government estimates how much would be the next year's income and how much would be spent on which field, on which town. And accordingly, government spending takes place. And again, government spending, when government spends, with the individual, with the household, will work there and will earn. So in this way, those economic theories takes place in decision making, which comes under the functions of the managerial economics. So the decision making units are the households, decision making units are the households, parks, government, and rest of the world is the countries, the involved countries, whoever are involved in international trade. You should remember, international trade, see, it may come in your mind. All goods and services, all commodities and services are produced in every economy. If you consider India produces every commodity. India produces rice, India produces wheat, India also produces nickel, India, everything is produced. But still, every country practices trade with other countries. Why? Because every country, where the countries are involved in practicing trade, they gain out of trade. So gains from trade arise in international trade. International trade. That is why almost all countries practice trade with other countries. So managerial problems, I have already said it is managerial economics, managerial economic theory, and only those theories are applied to different modes that solve problems. So the managerial problems are solved. So managerial economics applies to different modes, different techniques, and econometrics. Econometrics is the combination or integration of economic theory, statistics, and mathematics. So everything is applied to solve the to solve the managerial problem, which is the main consideration of the managerial economics in decision making. So to solve managerial problems, manager decide what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Yes, it has been decided. The market research has been conducted by the manager. After market research, it has been decided what are the commodities to be produced. Then that has been decided by the managers. That yes, it is right. But for that there are different functions should work. Say how those products will be disposed in the market. So the marketing will work. So marketing is related in decision making part of the managerial setup. So marketing, that is the marketing is one of the functions of managerial economics also. Then to produce commodities, to produce services, commodities, then human resources are required. So HR will be involved to recruit those people. So HR is also one of the functions of the managerial economics. And finance, I did not mention, is very much important. Without that, the organization cannot be managed, the organization cannot be set up, the organization cannot be started up, and the organization cannot be finance also part of the managerial economics. So all those different functions, life functions, are involved in decision making. Those are all the managerial problems only. So the manager has to decide. This is the last slide of my discussion. This slide includes only the respondents who are the decision makers. As I have said, the decision makers are households, government, rest of the world with the different countries involved in international trade, and farmers. Now see the household, as we have learned today's discussion, that economics includes the behavior of the human being. Those human beings, those who live in the society, they are in the household. They live in different houses. So the households, if you look those arrow diagram, and other side is farm, where the manufacturing takes place. So the goods and services demanded by the household, are produced in the farm. So to produce that goods and services, laborers are required. Those laborers are supplied by the households. So the household supply the labor force. When the household supply the labor force is one of the factors of production. That is labor, and that labor price of that factor is wage. So the wages will be paid to the laborers. So who pays the wages? The farm. So money flows from farm to household, and household supplies the labor force to the farm. Again, the households create demand, because we the human beings, we create demand, and according to our response, according to our demand, that goods and services are decided which will be produced in the farm. So the farm produces the goods and services as per the need, as per the demand created by the household, and those commodities will be sold by the farm to the household. So when those commodities are bought by the households, they pay money to the farm. So money flows from household to farm. So money flows from farm to household and then household to farm. So it is actually the circular flow of income, but transaction takes place. So transaction takes place as per the need created, as per the demand created by the household. Again, when household earns, they pay tax to the government. Pay tax to the government. So government earns. So money goes from household to government. Accordingly, government makes plan how to spend, where to construct houses, hospitals, schools, approach roads, etc. So government spends. Again, when government makes the plan of spending, then those human beings, they are employed to construct those houses, approach roads, etc. So they are paid by the government. So in one side, when the tax is paid to the government, money flows from household to the government. Again, in other way, money flows from government to household when the work is done. So transaction takes place. Economic theory into decision making. Then again, sometimes government transfer money to the household. Government transfer against what? That commodities are not exchanged. Money transfers by the government to the household. So then also flow of money. Then when government makes plan and spend for different kinds of work like construction of houses, hospitals, schools, different roads and all, they buy those commodities, and machineries also buy those commodities from the farms only. So when they buy those commodities, they also pay money to those farms. Money goes from government to farm. Again, when the production takes place, when those productions are sold out in the market, then corporate tax is paid to the government. Money goes from government to farm to government. So money goes from one sector to another sector. Economics in this is then households. Suppose after one household earns 100 rupees per day and 5 rupees is paid as tax. After payment of tax, whatever the amount left over is for the disposable income. So income minus tax is the disposable income which is allowed, which that particular human being, particular individual can spend. So disposable income out of that 95 rupees, 100 minus 5, the 95 rupees, total 95 rupees may not be spent on consumption of rice or consumption of or purchase of say shirts and clothing, etc. Maybe part of that may be saved in financial institution. So money goes from households to financial institution. Again, that part of that may be invested in share market also. So that is investment takes place. Again, when you deposit the money in the financial institution, the financial institution's ability to disburse loan increases. So when the financial institution's ability to disburse loan increases, then they can disburse loan to the farms. So government takes loans and money goes from financial institutions to the not government farm, but to the farm, and again that money is repaid by the farm with interest from farm to the financial institution. Money flows. So money flows from one sector to another sector. So far, whatever I have discussed the circular flow or the flow of money from household to financial sector to farms to government. But there is another sector. If we include the open economy system, that foreign earnings are also important. Foreign earning means the foreign trade is here. So when one country is involved with other countries in practicing trade, they gain out of trade. That means international trade takes place. So the countries whichever are involved in transaction or in international trade, they are considered here in my diagram as the rest of the world, excluding the concerned country about what here discussed. So the rest of the world means other countries are also involved in decision making. Our country will export those commodities in other country if that particular country has demand on that commodity. That means that particular country's demand is also matter to the manager. that whether that particular commodity will have demand or not. Accordingly, that demand decision will take place. So, if that particular commodity has demand in the international market, then only that particular commodity will be sold out in other countries, and there will be export earning against export. And our individual, our citizen may also raise demand of different other commodities which may be imported from other country, and for that payment will also be involved. Those receipts and payment are maintained in balance of payment accounting system. If the receipt is greater than payment, then there is surplus in the balance of payment. If just opposite, there will be deficit in the balance of payment. Whether it is surplus or deficit, that decision makers have to think about the demand of the foreign countries also. Now, suppose there is recessionary phase in the economy, because economy always passes through different phases of business cycle. Sometimes we find boom phase, sometimes crash phase, sometimes recessionary phase, and sometimes recovery phase. There are 4 phases of business cycle. Always economy passes through different phases of business cycle. Now, if the economy passes through different phases of business cycle, you will also find in over the different phases of different business cycle, the individual, those who live in the society, their demand ups and downs. Means their demand sometimes goes up, sometimes their demand goes down. Demand goes down means their purchasing power, ability to purchase also sometimes goes up, sometimes goes down. Ability to purchase, if ability to purchase is less, its purchasing power is less, automatically there will be less demand in the economy. If there is less demand in the economy, then supplier, the manufacturer will not be able to sell those products in the market. So they will not be motivated. They will not be able to sell their products more. If they are unable to sell their products more, then they will more manufacturing firm will not set up. But then employment generation will not take place. And the employees, those who are employed in a particular organization, they may be terminated also. If they are terminated, they will not be able to earn, that is, they will not be able to create demand. So totally the demand of the economy will fall. If the demand of the economy falls, then supplier will not be able to sell their product. So the growth curve will decline. At that time, the government has to take decision. Government has to liberalize the loan disbursement policy. Maybe CRR, maybe lower down. If CRR is lower, in that case the loan will be cheaper. And the open market operations also will be played by the government. Government instructed of India, the central bank, may instruct the commercial banks to make the loan cheaper. To make the loan cheaper means the rate of interest will be lower. If the rate of interest is lower, then several people will be attracted to take loan, and they will set up business setup. And if the business setups are more, then automatically more people will be employed in those organizations. And if more people are employed in the organizations, then automatically those who are employed, they will be able to earn, and they will create demand of those commodities. And again the demand curve will go up. Then the different investment will be more in the economy. If there is more investment, there will be more economic growth in the economy. So just opposite side, if you think in the recessionary already I have said. So recovery of that top means boom phase of the business cycle. Always what happens, there is circulation of money. Circulation of money is more in the economy. If there is more circulation of money, then there will be inflation in the economy. What is inflation? Inflation is actually the sustained price of the commodity. Suddenly, the price of the commodity has gone up. If the price of the commodity goes up, there may be some people, those who are having more money in their hand, they will be able to pay and they will be able to purchase. If I give you a simple example, suppose you have gone to the market and you want to buy a Gorilla. So if you have more money in your pocket, then you won't hesitate to pay even 100 rupees to purchase one cauliflower. But there are several people, those who are not service holders, those who are not industrialists. They are the common man, but they are unable to pay 100 rupees because they don't have that outsourced income. So in that case, what happens? They will be facing problem. They won't be able to purchase those commodities. Then the government has to take decision. What type of decision the government will take? Government will try to take out those money from people to the government. How? Government will issue several bonds, several shares, which is called the open market operation. Open market operation should be followed there. Then government will issue several bonds, shares, etc., and government, so the people those who are having more money with high interest. So the government, the people those who are having more money, they will think, if I invest in that, then after the year I shall get more benefit. So that they will invest on those shares, bonds, etc., issued by the government. Then the money is taken away from the market to the government. So when the money is taken away from the people, those who are having more money, so their purchasing power will go down. Then they won't be able to pay 100 rupees for a particular cauliflower. They will bargain at 10 or 15 rupees. Then there will be parity in the market. Inflation will go down. So in this way, government has also to play a role when there are the difficult situations of the business sector. Those are all the applications of managerial economy in this system. Thank you.